Hi students, in this second video for online lecture 21, we are now going to talk about the fundamental gas laws. So as you can see by this experiment, I'm going to use a open manometer. In this case, you will see that I have a certain amount of mercury that is going to hold in our experimental gas, colored here in pink. If I increase the amount of mercury, this is effectively increasing the pressure. If I increase the pressure on my gas, you will notice that my gas is going to occupy a smaller volume. This is due to the compressibility of gases. So as I increase the pressure on a system, you will notice that the volume decreases. If I were to go and increase the pressure even more, you will notice that here by going and having 2 atmospheres of gas, you will see that now my volume has reduced to even a smaller amount. So as you can see here, we are going to have an inverse proportionality of our pressure to volume. As the pressure increases, the volume of our gas decreases. This is commonly known as Boyle's law. So as you can see here, we are taking the data from the last slide and being able to show you exactly how this is going to correlate. So at a constant temperature, this is one of the important things of all the fundamental laws that we are going to talk about in this video, is that one of our reaction characteristics must be held constant. In this case, it is going to be the temperature. And we have a constant amount of gas. This means that we do not change the number of moles. You are going to see that my pressure is inversely proportional to its volume. So this means that the pressure times the volume is equal to a constant, and Boyle's law in its best form is going to be known as P1 times V1 equals P2 times V2. This means that if we increase the pressure, the volume is going to decrease, and if we decrease the pressure, the volume will increase. This is a very important relationship for our gases. So let's try this example. An inflated helium balloon with a volume of 0.55 liters at sea level, which has a pressure of 1 atmosphere, is allowed to rise to a height of 6.5 kilometers where the pressure is 0.4 atmospheres. Assuming that the temperature remains constant, what is the final volume of the balloon? So this is important that we use our Boyle's law. So this means that we are wanting to have P1 V1 equals P2 V2. When dealing with our fundamental laws, and then later in our next video with the ideal gas law, it's important that you identify and label your gas variables. Because if you label the wrong ones or you misplace them, you are going to have issues when you try to solve and do your calculations. So let us go and look at pressure 1 is going to be our 1 atmosphere. So let us call that P1. And because of that, we are going to end up calling our 0.55 V1. Our pressure 2 is going to be our pressure at the higher altitude, and this means that we are going to ultimately solve for V2. This means that we are able to do our mathematical equation manipulation in order to solve for that. So V2 is going to equal P1 times V1 over P2. If I go ahead and plug in my known values, my pressure 1 is going to be our 1 atmosphere, but let's go ahead and put in the volume of 0.55 liters, and then I will put in my 1 atmosphere of pressure, and then finally we are going to see our pressure 2 is 0.40 atmospheres. In this case, our atmospheres and atmospheres will cancel. We are left with liters. And then you will notice that my lower pressure here in my denominator is going to cause my volume to get bigger. This is expected with Boyle's law. So if I put this into a calculator, I will get a value of 1.375 liters. But when it comes to our sig figs, we are going to end up with 1.4 liters of gas at the higher altitude. So because our pressure reduced, we would expect for our volume to get larger. So now let's go ahead and look at our second law. This is the variation of gas volume with temperature when we have a constant pressure. These go by actually two different names, one that you will typically hear as Charles' law, but it also uses a lot of the instances of Guy-Lussac's law. So what happens in this case is that you see at a constant pressure, we are going to have a linear relationship between our volume and our temperature. The higher the temperature, the larger our volume gets. Also notice that they will reach an intersecting point at negative 273.15. This is 0 degrees Kelvin. At 0 degrees Kelvin, we are going to have no volume because our gases are going to have such a little energy that they will actually become a solid. We will talk about that in kinetic molecular theory. But now you can see that as our volume gets bigger, we would expect our temperature to get bigger. So this means that our volume is equal to a constant times our temperature. And because we have this direct proportionality, we are going to get V1 over T1 equals V2 over T2. The biggest part about this is that the temperature for all gas reactions when dealing with Charles and Guy-Lussac's law, and then when we get to the ideal gas law, those temperatures must be in Kelvin because of that intersecting value. So if you are given a temperature in Celsius, you must go and put it into Kelvin. So let's try this example. A sample of gas has an initial volume of 2.8 liters at a temperature of 15 degrees C. If the volume of the gas is decreased to 1.92 liters, what is the new temperature of the gas sample? So before we go and do any calculations, we need to not only identify the variables, but also look and see how we are going to look at this equation. So first things first, we know that we need the equation of V1 T1 equals V2 over T2. So now let's go ahead and identify our variables. For V1, we are going to call that our 2.8 liters. So this is going to be our V1. Our T1 is going to be the 15 degrees Celsius. But the problem about this is that this is not in the correct units. So we must go and convert that. So our T1 is actually going to be 15 plus our 273. So that should give you 288 K. Well then, our 1.92 liters is going to be our V2. So this means that we must solve for T2. But before we do any math, we want to look at the theory behind this. If our volume decreases, and we know that our volume is directly proportional to the temperature, this means that our temperature should decrease. So as we're doing this problem, we should expect for us to get a smaller temperature. So let us go and isolate out our T2. So we have T2 being equal to T1 times V2 over our V1. So let us go ahead and plug in our identified variables. So our T1 is 288K. Then we have our volume 2, which is going to be our 1.92 liters. And then finally, we are going to have volume 1, which is 2.80 liters. So our liters and liters cancel, and you will notice that in this case, the larger number is going to be in the denominator, which means that we're going to result with a smaller answer, and you should end up getting a value of 197.5 Kelvin. If you look at your answer choices on the left, you will notice that that is not currently one of them. But what I can end up doing is going and take my 197.5 Kelvin, and if I subtract 273 Kelvin, I can convert this to Celsius to see if that is one of those values. And you will come to find out that I get negative 76 degrees Celsius, which comes out to answer B. So in this problem, you could see that even before I did any of the math, I am able to determine that I should be getting a lower temperature because my secondary volume is lower. So now let's talk about our third fundamental law, and that is Avogadro's law. This says that the volume is proportional to the number of moles in our system. So this means that our volume is equal to a constant times the number of moles, and we get a very similar format to our Charles law, but in this time, for Avogadro's law, instead of temperature, we are going to use moles. So that says that V1 over N1 equals V2 over N2. So why does this matter for us? This is saying that if we have gases with a certain number of moles, we are expecting a certain volume. So let's look at the reaction that you see below. You can agree that I have 3 moles of hydrogen. This means that I should have 3 equivalent volumes. If I go and react that with 1 mole of my nitrogen, this should be a total of 4 volumes. But where the issue comes in here is that you're actually doing a reaction. So one of the things that we are going to look at in this chapter is, when do gases react? In this case, with our hydrogen and nitrogen going to form ammonia, and when they mix without actually reacting. If they react, you will now see that because I have formed my ammonia using the same atoms, but now only creating 2 moles using our stoichiometric volume, this is only going to have 2 volumes worth. So using Avogadro's law, if you are using all gases, you are able to determine the volume of your products using your stoichiometric coefficients. This only works for gases that are doing a reaction. In a future video, you're going to see that if we start to mix gases that don't react, we are going to use Dalton's law of partial pressures to determine their contribution. So Avogadro's law describes to you just how many moles are going to give you the volume that you want. So let's take a look at all the gas laws that we have discussed during this video. The first one was Boyle's law. You can see that as we increase the pressure going left, we are going to decrease the volume. This is because our molecules had a lot of empty space around them, and that is able to be compressed. However, if we decrease the pressure, as you see going right here, notice that my molecules are going to want to take more space, and this is going to increase the volume. Finally, if we look at Avogadro's law, it's best to look at this law as an idea of, if I increase the number of moles, I should expect the pressure to go up, or I must increase the volume, because we need those molecules to have the space that they want. However, if I go left and I remove some of the moles of my gas, I am able for them to occupy a smaller volume and them to still be happy and have the same pressure, because there are less molecules observing the smaller volume. So when dealing with Avogadro's law, you want to see how we are going to influence a reaction by increasing or decreasing the number of moles. And then finally, we get to Charles' law, in which we can talk about a couple of iterations. So let's start with the top one. You will see that as if I go left and lower the temperature, my volume decreases. This is going to be due to my molecules having less energy meaning they're going to move less, creating a less pressure. So that means that they are able to have a smaller volume. If I increase the temperature, I'm going to give those molecules more energy, and we must create a larger volume for those molecules to have their space. This is the typical understanding of Charles' law. However, if I look at the bottom, if I lower the temperature, because of the proportionality of volume and pressure, If I were to go and leave the volume the same, this means that my pressure must decrease. If I go the other way and increase the temperature and leave the volume the same, this means that the pressure is going to increase because I give my molecules more energy, they are going to have more collisions, and that is going to cause a greater pressure. In this video, you saw the fundamental laws being able to exhibit all the characteristics of this gas. Boyle's law showing us the inverse proportionality of pressure and volume. Charles' law and Guy-Lussac's law showing us the relationships between temperature and volume, as well as temperature and pressure. And then finally, Avogadro's law showing us the proportionality of our number of moles and what that does to the volume. In the next video, you're going to see how we combine all of these to form the ideal gas law. Have a great day.